Private jet versus first class is usually framed the wrong way. People compare the seat. The verkrysen in sees is that's food. The kasser inazu thesser the cabin. The status, that is not the real comparison. The real question is control. Which option gives you more control over your time, your privacy, your schedule, your passengers, your airports, and your day? If you want private jet charter explained like a serious buyer briefing, subscribe to JetMaster. This channel is for people who want to make better charter decisions before they start comparing quotes or approving flight options. In a moment, I'm going to show you where first class is still a smart choice, where private jet charter becomes a stronger tool, and why the decision should not be made from ego. Because here is the blunt truth. Private aviation is not automatically smarter. First class is not automatically cheaper in the way people think. And the best option depends on what you are trying to protect. If you only want a comfortable seat on a simple route, first class may be enough. If you need control over the entire travel day, private jet charter may be in a different category. That is the distinction. First class sells a better seat inside someone else's system. Private charter gives you more control over the system itself, not total control. Private aviation still has weather, crew rules, aircraft availability, airport limits, and operational realities. But compared with commercial travel, you control much more of the trip. So let's compare this properly. Control point 1. Schedule. This is where private jet charter separates itself fastest. With first class, you choose from the airline schedule. You adapt to the departure times that exist. You arrive early. You clear the airport process. You board when the airline boards. You wait when the airline waits. And if the schedule changes, you are usually one passenger inside a much larger machine. That may be perfectly fine. For many trips, it is fine. But if the exact timing matters, first class can still waste an enormous amount of the day. Private charter changes the schedule conversation. You can often choose a departure time that fits your meeting, your family, your return window, or your operating day. You can arrive closer to departure. You can avoid unnecessary airport waiting. You can sometimes turn a trip into one clean movement instead of a full day interruption. That is not about showing off. That is operational value. If your time is expensive or your calendar is tight, the schedule can matter more than the seat. The wrong question is private nicer than first class? The better question is, how much control do I need over the day? Control point 2. Das Shatter S in Shoku. Airports. Commercial aviation is built around major airports. Private aviation can often use smaller, more convenient airports. That can change the entire trip, not just the flight. The ground time, the arrival. The departure. The drive. The privacy. The friction. The recovery time after landing. A commercial first-class ticket may get you to the nearest major airport. A private jet charter may get you closer to the actual destination, or closer to your home, or closer to the meeting, or closer to the resort, or closer to the family property. That difference can be more important than the flight time. A 2-hour flight can become a 6-hour travel day when you include airport arrival, security, boarding, delays, baggage, deplaning, and ground transfer. This is where casual comparisons fall apart. They compare flight time only. That is lazy math. The real comparison is door to door. If first class takes 8 hours of total disruption and private charter takes 4, the decision is not just about ticket price. It is about what those 4 hours are worth and what they protect. Control point 3. Privacy and work. First class is more comfortable than economy, obviously, but it is still public. You are still in a shared cabin. You are still around other passengers. You still have limited privacy. You may not be able to speak freely. You may not want to open certain documents. You may not want to discuss a deal, a legal matter, a family issue, an acquisition, a medical situation, or anything sensitive. Private charter gives you a different privacy environment. You can speak more freely. You can work differently. You can travel with your team. You can brief before landing. You can rest without the same public exposure. You can protect conversations that should not happen in a commercial cabin. For some trips, this matters. For other trips, it does not. That is the point. Private aviation is not always justified by comfort. Sometimes it is justified by confidentiality. If the flight is just transportation, first class may be fine. If the flight is also a private workspace, the calculation changes. Control point 4. Passengers, family, luggage, and pets. This is where first class can start to feel rigid. Airlines are built for individual seat inventory. Private charter is built around the group mission. That matters when you are traveling with family, children, assistants, business partners, security, pets, equipment, or luggage that does not fit neatly into commercial rules. With first class, each traveler is still moving through the commercial process. Check-in, security, boarding, baggage rules, pet rules, connection risk, public exposure. With private charter, the trip can be planned around the group. The sensor os induce you the passenger count, the bags, the timing, the airport. The caster knows you the cabin. The purpose, the ground transfer. This does not mean every family trip should be private. That would be ridiculous. But if the trip is complex, sensitive, or time critical, charter can remove friction that first class cannot remove. Here is the practical test. If you are only moving one person between two major cities, first class may be the smart option. If you are moving a family, a team, luggage, pets, and a tight schedule, private charter may solve problems that first class does not even try to solve. Control point 5. Disruption and recovery. Commercial travel can go wrong in ways you cannot control. Delays, cancellations, missed connections, aircraft swaps, baggage issues, crowded terminals, weather disruptions as the crew issues, airport congestion. Private aviation is not immune to disruption. Do not let anyone sell you that fantasy. Weather still matters. Aircraft availability still matters. Crew planning still matters. Maintenance still matters in racers. Airport limits still matter. But private charter can give you more options in certain situations. Differently OZS natri different airports. Different timing, different aircraft options, different sightseer and different routing, more direct communication, more flexibility around the travel plan. That can matter when the trip is important. If a commercial delay causes you to miss a meeting, lose a day, exhaust your family, or destroy the purpose of the trip, the cheaper ticket was not necessarily cheaper. It only looked cheaper before the disruption showed up. That is why serious buyers think in total impact, not just fare versus charter quote. Now let's be fair. First class can absolutely be the better decision. If the route is simple, the schedule works, the commercial airport is convenient, and privacy is not a major issue, first class may be perfectly rational. For one traveler on a strong nonstop route, first class can be efficient. For flexible travel, it can be enough. For trips where the stakes are low, it may be the better use of money. Private charter should not be used as a reflex. That is just expensive ego. An expensive ego is not strategy. The better way to decide is to ask 7 questions. 1. Do I need to choose the departure time, or can I accept the airline schedule? 2. Does private aviation reduce total door-to-door time meaningfully? 30. Ties 3. Is the destination better served by a private aviation airport? 4. Do I need privacy for conversations, documents, family, or work? 5. Am I moving a group, luggage, pets, or special requirements? 6. Would a commercial disruption create a serious problem? 7. Is the value of control greater than the premium? That last question is the real one. Not, can I afford private? Not, is private nicer? The question is, does this trip justify more control? If yes, private jet charter may make sense. If no, first class may be the smarter move. That is not a downgrade. That is discipline. Private aviation should be used when it solves a real problem. Time, privacy, complexity, security, family comfort, schedule control, airport access, business continuity. If it does not solve one of those, be honest about that. You do not need to force the decision. You need to make the clean decision. Before you compare charter options, it helps to understand what you are actually buying. Not the cabin, not the photo, not the status, the control. That is why we put together the free 10-day JetMaster private jet charter course. It is linked in the description and pinned comment. Use it before you start comparing quotes, aircraft categories, airports, and route options. It will help you think through the trip like a prepared charter buyer instead of reacting to whatever option looks impressive first. In the next video, I'm going to show you private jet airport choice and why the closest airport is not always best. Because once you understand the control difference between first class and private charter, the next mistake is assuming the nearest airport automatically gives you the smartest trip. It does not. And don't forget, your JetMaster journey starts now.